Today on
The Giovanne Show.
Immigrants made the United States. The United States of America cannot live without immigrants.
When you came to the U.S., what was the biggest culture shock you experienced?
I think my biggest cultural shock, racism in a lot of things. The race, it's just very divided.
The Giovanne Show
was presented by Misty's Adult and Family Services, Washington and California, serving communities in need through housing, case management, and shelter services.
Sasharay.com,
motivating people to success. Stay tuned and stay connected with all of our videos and interviews by subscribing at
Sasharay.com.
There you'll find our podcasts, blog articles, and insights on social services, music, and culture in Los Angeles and Seattle. Call us today to see if we can help you. Monday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 1-800-524-4827.
Welcome to The Giovanne Show, where real voices meet real solutions. This is the space where we shine a light on resilience, leadership, and the stories that often don't get told. Today, family, we've got a powerful guest joining us. He is a Seattle Community Police Commissioner, appointed by the Seattle City Council. He's a leader, an advocate, an immigrant, and a voice for equity and justice in our communities. He's walked the journey from Nairobi, Kenya, to the United States, and now he's shaping systems, policy, and lives as a respected community leader. Please help me welcome Seattle Community Police Commissioner, Ken Nsimbi.
Thank you, Giovanni. I just appreciate it a lot.
No problem. Ken, I want to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Your story begins in Nairobi. What do you remember most about childhood, and how did it shape the person you are today?
That's a great question. A few folks know, those who know me really well. I do have Ugandan roots as well, because both my parents were born and raised in Uganda. They moved to Kenya, and then I was born and raised in Kenya, which I'm thankful for. But I have the best of both worlds, East Africa. So Ugandan blood flows through me, and I identify mainly as Kenyan because that's where I spent most of my formative growing up years. I mean, Nairobi is still with me everywhere I go. In my accent, you can tell I still have it. I'm not losing it anytime soon, man. I'm gonna keep that strong. And just how I grew up, the culture I grew up in, the faith, playing basketball after church, learning drums, the music that flows through my vein, the dance, that's all through my growing up and my upbringing in the church, mainly in Nairobi. So yeah, I'm very thankful. I'm glad that I got that type of understanding, because I've realized when people travel, they come back different. When I've had some of my friends in the US travel,
right,
understand the world differently, and you're more empathetic, sympathetic, and you're just more understanding to why we need to just be kind to one another and just love, So yeah, I'm thankful for having the motherland raise me.
Exactly. I hear you. When you came to the U.S., what was the biggest culture shock you experienced?
Biggest cultural shock? That's a great question. Biggest cultural shock. How things were so black and all white, because where I'm coming from, most folks look like me, in Nairobi, Kenya, you go to Uganda, across the border, Tanzania, most folks look like me. My skin, my race was the majority where I came from. Here it was the minority, and just the tensions around race, I think, were my biggest cultural shock, because I just couldn't walk down the street as a 6'3" dude with dreadlocks, just regularly. I'm seeing different. I'm stopped cops. So that was the biggest cultural shock, where it's not just business as usual. Even in Seattle, which is pretty progressive, but there's a lot of passive and underlying racism in a lot of things. So that was my biggest cultural shock. Just the black, white, or the BIPOC versus what, just the race. It's just very divided, very, very divided.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I mean, Seattle's like a big melting pot of everything, but it makes things more difficult as well. And you also have to honor, different parts of heritage from, different types of people.
It's gotten even worse since I've been here. Like, worse.
More multicultural.
And the tensions have become, it starts from the top, right? So
yeah, like even today, you talked a little bit about your Kenyan identity, right? That's still with you every day, all day. Tell us, what are some of the things that you do on a daily or on a weekly or a monthly basis to honor your Kenyan identity?
I always carry our ancestors with me wherever I go in what I do, whether those are my grandparents, whether those are my parents, my dad, who passed away. I'm him in the sense of how I host people, in the sense of how I love community, in the sense of how I care for others. That's what I was raised in. Our house was the house that folks went to for refuge. Folks went to when they're in hard times, when they're fallen upon hard times. My dad was an incredible host. My mom is an incredible host and continues to be. And just loving and creating a village, Ubuntu. I am because we are. That's right. What I carry with me. That's my life motto. I cannot do what I have been able to do and achieve. I cannot get to where I am currently and where I am going without the village, without people, without a journey of 1,000 steps starts but with just one, and then go fast, go alone, go further, go with people. I will always stand by that. Like, community is the way to go. I live and breathe by that. Community. Yeah. So entrenched in it. I love community. I love the tough times. I love the hard times. I love the disagreements. I love when we get in and reconcile and we move on and continue on together. So that's what I carry with me. The village.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds beautiful. I can see how that guides everything that you do, and why you do the work that you do here in the United States. So, immigration is such a hot topic right now. It's political, it's polarizing, but behind the headlines, it's personal. You've lived it. What's the reality most people miss about the immigrant experience?
The reality most people miss is that the United States of America cannot live without immigrants. I'll repeat that. It cannot live or breathe or function without immigrants. Immigrants made the United States. Immigrants are the United States. Every single person in the US, apart from our beloved native brothers and sisters, are immigrants, because we immigrated here. This land was already spoken for and taken. No such thing as Columbus found anything. No, there was already a system that was living and breathing. So immigrants, the US foundation, our brothers and sisters in slavery built this country to where it's at. We cannot live without immigration. We should not fight it. We should have learned from the past that it's always a lost game. Folks are talking about Nebraska going bankrupt because of all the games they were playing, trying to kick folks out and ice this and ice that. Now they're going bankrupt because no one's picking up the jobs, the so-called jobs that folks are taking from the American. No one wants those jobs. And the folks who are really good at them and are able to do them and more are our immigrants, brothers and sisters. So we are founded by immigrants, and we need to respect immigrants and love them and welcome them at all costs. So that's my passionate speech on that.
That's deep. That's deep. How has being an immigrant informed
not just your journey, but the way you lead and the way you advocate?
A great question. Like you said, it's in my DNA. I came here 2001, Christmas Day. We landed SeaTac Airport. We were already set up at the local church my mom was going to because she brought us here. They set us up with like gifts for the Christmas holiday. They set us up with the resources we needed. I got scholarship at college to have housing. We got connected to all these things that we were able to get connected to. So with that, I was able to feel the love, and I was able to directly live this American dream to this exact, from that. So you have housing, so you don't worry about housing. So you're not too stressed in school. You do decent in school. You get your degree. I got my fine arts degree, thinking I was going to be the best dancer out there. My basketball knees were not helping me. And then from that, I go to do a human services degree, fine art, Bachelor of Science in Human Services degree. Then I do a practicum for 1 year, and then I get my job through that. And then directly, that's what leads me into the role that I'm in right now. Through that whole journey of being supported by community, of getting resources. So with that, I was like, if I'm able to go through these channels, through these people, how could we create this for the folks coming after us? So I've dedicated my life outside of work, on the weekends, when I'm done with work, supporting our immigrants from Congo, Angola, Venezuela, because that's the biggest migrants that we're seeing coming in. And before that, I was working with beautiful folks from Afghanistan. And then before that, you heard the Ukraine. Like, I've worked with all levels that come through me because we have networks of people who have furniture, clothing, housing. So we've built up a little group of folks that's able to support. So currently at Rainier Beach Presbyterian Church, we have a room that has furniture and household items and toiletries and hygiene products, where if someone hits me up, we give you the address, you pop in and you shop till your heart's content.
That's great.
And repeat. So we've served over hundreds of folks. We've been going for 2 years, that place down there. So free furniture, free community donates, because we have a surplus in America. We have a surplus in Seattle. We have a lot of folks have furniture that is gently used, that they're done with. They want a new one because that's just how consumerism is. And then we get it and give it to folks who are able to use it even further down. A lot of folks' apartments have been fully furnished by the beautiful networks that we have out there. So, man, it's because I was given, and it's because folks showed me mercy, grace, that I'm able to do what I do. You know, I'm so thankful. I'm so humbled. I do not take for granted where I'm at right now. So it's an honor that I'm even able to do this and to kind of do a small piece of giving back, because I've received a lot of blessings. So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you keep giving back. So, of course, you're going to get, those blessings. They're going to keep coming down on you.
Yes, sir.
And helping out a lot of people, especially, with the church. And, that's really where, people usually come in and seek that same faith that they brought with them, and that can become a community for people. So a lot of people discount and forget about that. Church is also a place where we need to connect more resources for, people who do need that assistance.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you serve on the Seattle Community Police Commission.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I know is newer for you, right?
Yeah, it is. As of May.
As of May. Yeah. So that's right at the center of today's debates about equity and policing.
Yes.
So from your perspective, what's one thing the public often misunderstands about this conversation? What the commission is and, what it does and everything, because the public is, probably misunderstood a little bit about exactly what that new title for you means.
Right. Well, our vision as the Seattle Police Commission, CPC, it's called for short, is, for us, so for our communities and Seattle's police, for them to align in shared goals of safety, That's our vision.
Mhm.
Community first, and the police to align in shared goals of safety, respect, and then accountability. Those like as opposed to this division, because our community, our beloved community, is not going anywhere. The police is also not going to go anywhere. So we have to work together. We have to have some shared sense of goals for safety and respect, and as the police, holding the police accountable for what's happened. The Community Police Commission, like we listen to, and we amplify and build common grounds among communities affected by policing in Seattle. That's our goal. It's to build common ground among communities affected by policing. We champion policing practices centered in justice and equity. Because of our name, some folks think we're a department in the police. I want to make that clear. We are not. Quite honestly, I have challenged for us to have a name that represents more community as opposed to having police in it, because that is confusing for folks. It was for myself when I applied, until I sat on the commission and I saw the work that we do. We have a great director, we have a great team, and they do really good work to make sure, like I said, to make sure we're championing policing practices centered in justice and equity. That's what we do. We work with several other groups, but we make sure that our group is community led. The voice is community led. That's another thing. They speak into what is the key thing for them. How can we advocate for them? How can we hold our SPD accountable for actions, and how can we work together to make sure that we're in respect for one another, because we do need both sides for this to be accomplished.
Yeah, I think that's amazing work. Honestly, it's still a really powerful place to be because, it is government commissioned. And, when the commission speaks, to the Seattle Police Department or any police department that's involved,
Yeah.
It does carry real weight. And so a lot of people don't, understand how important it is to even be on a commission like you're on, and to be serving and to be able to make those. Really, it feels like sometimes because I've been on a couple, but it
Okay.
feels like, behind the scenes kind of action. And so it doesn't always get that recognition of like, wow, they were able to push for this, they were able to push for that. Right? The commission is behind stuff like that. So I would imagine that equity, and you talked a lot about it through the stories, but equity is really something that means a lot to you. What does real racial equity look like beyond the buzzwords?
Man, real racial equity for me, this is Ken's idea of it, is
We're getting it exclusive right here. This is Ken's version.
real racial equity. Like, it takes commitment, like 100% commitment for an individual to be like, we're going to put our money, our love, our respect behind the voice of real racial equity, to reach out to the least of these, or to the voices that are most harmed by the system. That's what real racial, like, I'm talking intentionality on, once again, when you reach out to the voices, to the community of those most harmed by systems, that's when you're starting to dig deep. Like, that's when you're really invested. I'm talking holding community meetings, holding listening sessions, holding parent and student, look at the system, look at who it's benefiting, and looking at who it's not. Dive into who it's not benefiting, attack that. The reason why I say money, because funding and disproportionate awarding of funding is what has led folks to not having, and that creates inequality. We're talking about reparations, we're talking about all these things that are like these buzzwords that you keep hearing coming up.
Yeah, that's true.
Able to dive into, this is what I need. These are the communities that we need to serve. These are the communities that we need to have voices listened to. This is how the funding is supposed to go. Only then is when we could even touch the big iceberg of equity. Yeah, it's a long journey, a lot of work. I'm still learning every day on how that looks like. I'm not an expert. But yeah, that's Ken's definition.
All right, well, we appreciate Ken's definition. We're definitely gonna quote that one because I definitely agree.
Mhm.
You're so on point and so right about that. It's dope. But I want to also acknowledge that like this work is not easy. The Giovanni Show is built on resilience. Can you share a moment when your work for equity hit resistance and how you pushed through that?
That's a great question. Man, you're not playing around with the questions because we talk about racial equity and then you say how I hit resistance, right? Because we all know racial equity, that's a process, when we eliminate racial disparities in order for us to improve outcomes for everyone, for community. That's what that is. So if you understand that, the resistance I have gotten by trying to eliminate racial disparities such as housing, such as resources for immigrants that I was working with since 2020 hit was mainly towards our immigrant families not being housed in the 2021 through 2023-24 season. That was really challenging. Like we had folks sleeping in tents, around 450 individuals at a small church in my neighborhood. It's called Riverton because I live in SeaTac. So it felt like we would go to city council, and we'd go with the families. We'd put young kids on the mic and they'd be like, I'm sleeping outside. There's snakes. It's cold. The weather is terrible. Could you please find some funding for us to get housing? But there was always some sort of political resistance as to it's not that clean cut. We need to do this. We need to go through this channel. We haven't gotten full funding. Of course, it's not just plug and play with funding to get people, but I'm pretty sure folks know how to get funding for a host of things that they
That's true. That's very true.
also dip our pockets and find funding for the current immigrants that have come in. I do understand that it was a big number that came into Seattle, and the city and the small cities like Tequila, SeaTac were not ready for it. Seattle was also not ready for it. However, we can figure this out. We have very sharp people in office who are elected. They're elected for a reason. We have individuals, we have nonprofits, and we can figure it out. And guess what? From the 450 people that I've just mentioned to you, first of all, there's no more tents in that space. There's
That's excellent.
goes down to 50. And in the church itself, maybe 7 or 10 people are actually sleeping on the church floor, where during the highest peak, it was like 70 to 80 inside the church, and then 400 and something outside. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a pandemic. It was terrible. So we figured something out. A lot of housing groups came together, a lot of nonprofits, a lot of grassroots people came together to make sure that our families were safe. So I wish that resistance did not come as late as it did, but I'm thankful that we're at a much better space and we're still continuing to even fight more for our immigrants that came in. That's the one that I'd say was something that I faced a lot with the whole group of advocates that were working on housing and just humanity for our families that were coming into Seattle.
Yeah, that sounds really, really difficult. But you've had an amazing impact through programs like Best Starts for Kids, King County Housing Authority, and now I think it's Keys, right? Is it KEES? Like Keys? What's been one defining leadership lesson from those roles?
Yeah, I've been pretty blessed to be in those roles with King County. We made sure that our families living in our affordable housing would have quality after school programming for the young kids there. At BSK, we worked with community providers to fund them so that we could make sure our young people were healthy, safe, and just thriving. Keys, that's advocating for hiring leaders in the community to serve in specific roles, but hiring leaders that are conscious of racial equity, conscious of making our community a better space. So through that all, I'd say that defining moment or like a specific stance between all that has been listening to community voice in all those community voice drives the work. When you do it well and when you do listen, like when community feels heard, you're given the blueprint for your work, and it makes it so it doesn't make it easy, but it makes it manageable. It gives you the path to move, because sometimes it slows things down. I'll be honest. Sometimes it slows things down when you're holding on, because that's why some folks just go. They go with the decisions without checking in with community. But slowing down to listen to our communities, because Best Starts is all about, supporting children from prenatal development through adulthood, and that program has, partnered with a wide range of organizations and nonprofits, and has to support. It offers comprehensive support to families and communities. So if you're offering support to families and communities, you need to listen to those voices. If I'm offering after-school programming, I need to listen to the voices of the families. If we're bringing in leaders to lead organizations, families have to be part of the tables. Leaders and parents need to be on the interview panels so that they can drive the mission and the vision of the organizations that we work with. So community-led and family-driven sessions and voices is what I hold through all those positions. It's what's made us successful. It's what's made us humble, because some of those sometimes you're checked by those voices and you're like, oh, we thought we had it right, but then not quite, until you sit down and hear what community has to say. So, and that journey continues to this day.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, one of the things that I'm really keen on in my organization and the leadership role that I'm in is statistics.
Yes.
And actually reaching out to the clients and making sure that, like you said, are you actually okay? Let's take it a little bit of a step further and just find out if you're okay, and if you do have a complaint, or is there something you want, and sometimes there's small things that you overlook. Programs are designed to be programs, but you also need to consider the people that you're serving in those programs in order to make the program, the core part of it, successful, but also the overall part of it. Because you also have that ending part of it where people are supposed to be stable because your program worked, but did you follow up? Or are you finding that those same people are going back through the program again? Or other similar programs? Are they connected to the right resources and services at the right time? Very, very important work. Very important work. So people say, that government and nonprofits move too slow, but you're right there in the trenches. How do you balance idealism with the practical realities?
Actually, I mean, I do agree with people that the government does move slow, but sometimes that's also to help us count. You talked about being data driven.
Yeah.
We have to go through all the checks and balances. You have to go through all the checks and balances, because if, for instance, we're to fund the Giovanne Show, we would want to know how you're measuring success, what invoice, what are the dollars going to, what is neat. So it's not just going to be check, cash out. It has to be a longer process that could be frustrating, and then a lot of data is requested, because
sounds like responsibility. Being responsible with public funds. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a process to everything.
With taxpayers' funds.
Yes.
Because when articles come out or when audits come out, you need to check all those balances.
Yeah, for sure. So let's clear some things up. I want to see, you can help our viewers watching. What's one myth about nonprofit or community work that you'd love to shut down once and for all?
Once and for all. So
once and for all, finito, it's done. Like, stop saying that. Stop saying that. Yeah.
So if I say it after this on your show, it's going to be shut down? Is that what you're saying?
It possibly could be. You never know. People might, just respect everything you said and go along with it. It could inspire others.
Where'd you get these good questions, man?
I dig into, my guests, and I try to understand the extent of their work and what they do. And, that's where we are.
Well, there's a lot of myths, man.
There is a lot.
Self-sacrificing employees, services are free,
Yeah.
nonprofits are not about making profits, or like donations are the only source of funding, so I
That's
think I
very
might I
true.
might go maybe actually there's some people who think nonprofits are just there to freeload on money and are not metrics driven,
Yeah.
and that's the
There's
myth.
some good ones out there.
Yeah, that's the myth.
Excellent ones out there.
Yeah, that's the myth that I would want to put, because nonprofits should be held. And nonprofits, I know when we are giving them funding, are held to standards to ensure funds are being used to deliver value. That's a myth and this can only be done when nonprofits are metrics oriented, and we have great data coming in from several nonprofits that we work with, and it's done really well. They can give you line items of this has equated to this, and now you see the young person is doing this. A lot of nonprofits,
Real results.
yeah,
Real solutions.
results, data-driven results, and successful metrics that are being produced by our nonprofits. Because sometimes when folks think you're getting funding, they think you just check a box and that's it. That's not true. Most nonprofits that are reporting to us as government are giving us great metrics. And then there's also folks there's always improvement that could happen, but with that we have individuals that support it, that we have TAs, we have organizations that work with our nonprofits to support them in that sense. So yeah, I will stick to that one. Nonprofits are not metrics driven. That's false. Nonprofits are metrics driven when done right, and results come out really good, especially for the young people and communities that they serve when that's done right. And they are a ton out there that do a great job at it, despite what you hear in the news, despite when a news article comes out of some nonprofit that did not use their funds appropriately. That paints a negative picture for most of them. But I've worked with a lot. We continue to work and fund and serve nonprofits that do really good work and create great metrics.
Metrics are really important. Now, here's what I love about your story.
Yeah.
You're not just a leader. You're also a musician.
Good job with homework.
That's the side a lot of leaders don't really want to talk about. How does the drumming and just the art of that keep you grounded in the middle of this heavy work?
Oh yeah, I think music makes the world go round, as folks have said. When you sit down, play a tune by Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Stevie, all the greats, it puts you in a different place. It just puts you in a different place when the beat drops for everything's gonna be all right. Billie Jean, you name it. I could name some really dope songs that just put you easy, like Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It puts you in a place of ease. I'm a drummer, so that's what I do. I play drums. I've been doing that since I was 15 back in Kenya. Started by sneaking in the back of the church storage room that they'd store the drums after service, and I picked up the drum set and started playing. And now in the States, but ironically enough, I learned playing hand drums, the djembe, in the US. But that's been a huge relaxation. And leader or not, man, when I'm on the drums, I'm an artist.
That's right.
I'm a drummer. Forget Ken, I'm commissioner. Forget Ken, whatever role that you play in the community. I'm just a drummer that loves drumming. I play once a month. Actually, no, several times a month, but different gigs. There's one I have that's become consistent once a month where I just jam, and there's a group of a whole bunch of 100 and some folks singing along to popular songs as I'm drumming, and my guys on keys leading us like a choir. So music is what got me through the pandemic. I was most things had shut down, but then I was doing a virtual church, and we were only 5 people on stage, and then everyone else was virtually worshiping through Facebook. but I was playing drums, and then we had the keys person, and then a few vocalists and the minister, and that we did that for 2.5, 3 years before folks came back in, and that I would show up every day, every Sunday to play. You know, that got me motivated. That didn't get me into the COVID funk. I looked forward to finding something to do on Sundays, and I still play every Sunday for that same church, you know. So I'm very thankful for music. I'm very thankful for the talent. I'm very thankful for the blessing that I have to be able to do that and continue to do that and teach it locally in some schools in Seattle, teach it to kiddos, private lessons and stuff. But yeah, man, I love drumming, I love music, and that's the piece that I go into. So sometimes I'm closing my eyes and just jamming away on the drum, and I just go into my place of Zen and kind of move away from all the beautiful families that are suffering, all the immigrants that we need to work this and that and the other. I get into that headspace, I get into my own zone so that I'm able to serve the way I do when I'm done playing. So that's music for me.
That makes a lot of sense. And I would imagine that helps you with your creativity as well.
Yes,
Right?
it really does. With the brain, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But
So tell us more about that. Like, what do you think is the connection between creativity and leadership?
creativity and leadership. As a leader, you have to think ahead. You have to be a visionary. You have to be able to juggle a lot of things. You know, you have to.
You're right.
If solutions that need to be made, you have to think creatively to find alternates or to find a way out, a way to grow, a way to support, a way to mentor, a way to lead. So there's a lot of creativity. So matching up your art on how you're composing the beats, how you're making them line up, how you're doing the paradiddles, how you're connecting the rolls, you know, how you're listening to guitar, you're listening to the bass, you're listening to the key so that you're staying in your pocket, but on rhythm at the same time. Then you bring it back to a leadership role. How are you listening to the folks that you are overseeing? How are you listening to the community? How are you listening to families? How are you listening to your superiors and balancing that? Man, I could match up music and drums and leadership any day. So
Yeah, that sounds like community right there.
you go into the brains, and there's a lot of because there's sometimes I'm playing lead, you know, or I have the solo, and there's sometimes you're going to be soloing a project, you're going to be leading something. So there's a great intersection between music, creativity, and leadership that flows. They all go right into each other, and that helps you, the brain, where you're playing the hi-hat, the snare, the kick, and rolling at the same time, you know, splitting those, you know. In community, you're going to sit on a commission, you're going to work for King County, you're going to be volunteering on the weekends with families. You have to split that as well, and try to do it well, not just show up, but be present while you're in it. So stay in your pocket.
Yeah,
That's the drummer.
that's
Stay
a
in
lot.
your pocket.
Multitasking, basically. A lot of multitasking. You
Yes,
got to
sir.
be a lot of different people to a lot of different things and a lot of different people at the same time. And you got to turn things on and off and all day, all night. But you also have to be a human being at the end of the day. You have to be human. You have to actually feel what it's like to live and breathe and be alive on this earth as well, to be able to connect to what I feel like what you believe is like the greater goal of life, right? Is equality and leadership and creativity and breaking through barriers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And what role do you think culture and arts play in building stronger, more resilient communities?
Man, culture and arts are like one and the same. Because also I MC, you know, I've hosted fashion shows. I love fashion. Like
I can see with the hat. You looking fly. You're on point.
several hats actually behind me. It's a big hat wall. You know?
Yeah, we can see it's breaking through a little bit there.
Yeah.
You on fire. You on fire. You looking fly. Yeah.
So, and that's my identity. You know, actually, I started wearing hats after the '83 Motown that Michael did, Billie Jean. You know, I loved that. And I was like, man, I love the fedora. So I started wearing the fedora from that. But culture and arts should intertwine, because within arts, you're supposed to express your culture. And that's why when you see my dressing, I have Africa on my neck, because that's where I'm born. In my hair, you're gonna see some of the beads from the motherland, because
that's the heart of you. That's who you are.
That is my identity. I've seen that, and when you're true to who you are, where you're from, and not shy away from it. And because it's funny enough, when I was in Kenya, I wanted to identify with the hip hop culture of New York, LA, and the music. You never catch me in any African chain or nothing like that when I was back home. But then when I moved to the States, man, I realized that folks really respect, at least not everyone, but most folks that I was hanging out with respected my African identity, and they loved it. And I was like, that is cool. It's cool to be an African. So I want a piece of me always, like something, the colors, the Pan-African colors, the ring is African, it's just in my blood, man. It's like, that's part of my culture. That's also part of the arts. When I'm walking, when I'm talking, when I'm breathing, just shows as I'm moving in whatever I do. Any event that I'm hosting has to have some cultural, and not just African culture. It has to represent individuals' cultures. Like if we have folks from different backgrounds, we try to show it through the music, through the food, if we have our Muslim brothers and sisters, we're not going to be serving no pork. You have to make sure that you identify with folks' cultures and respect them, and try to your very best represent them.
It's very important.
So
it's very important. I always look at it like people are valuable, no matter who they are, what they're going through, whatever the situation, circumstance is right now. There might be things about them that's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
It might make you turn the other way. But at the end of the day, people are human. And especially in America, we talk about all the freedoms that are available to us through the Constitution, and so that's what most people, or everybody really, is afforded in this country. So people can make the decisions that they need to make, but the fundamental part of it is when we're making decisions that affect other people, it's not supposed to be your own agenda.
Yes.
Nobody really cares about what you particularly feel, to a degree. But, if I'm being real, nobody really cares about how you feel about a decision. It should be what the community feels about the decision. And if you're not going to be able to agree with everybody, but it's got to be an overwhelming situation where, that's the decision we should go with, because that's what benefits the community the most. But even still, there's always that data part that we talked about earlier. It's going to keep coming in, because you still have to measure if that is even going to be continuously still working. I mean, that's just something you implemented because it worked at that time, but like, are you following up? Are you getting the data from that? And then from there, what else needs to happen? And what about the other people that were disproportionately affected because their yeses was a no because it wasn't in the majority, right? But looking ahead, what does success look like for the communities you serve in the next 5 to 10 years?
Success looks like complete independence and self-reliance, for them. You could still come out to the independence. Looks like next few years, they're fully integrated into the society, working, going to community. For some of them, learning the language to an extent where you're able to communicate, and that gives you an advantage with the type of job that you're able to get locally, because if you can speak English, you do get an advantage of getting a higher paying job as opposed to one that might be an entry level, or something like that. And I always tell my families, do not lose your language. Do not, please continue to educate your young folks on the beautiful language and where they come from. Because sometimes parents, even our African parents, have said, you know what, lose your language. Let's get completely into this American thing so that kids don't make fun of you, change your name. No, keep your culture and also adapt with where you're moving, so that you are a double, triple threat as well. So for me, it looks like success would look like engaging in community, being able to be fully sustained, like family. And I see it. It's such a beautiful thing right now when I see some of the young men I've been mentoring and working with who just landed into the country like a year, 6 months ago. You see them buying their cars. There's a house of like 6 guys that I was getting side gigs here and there to begin with. Now, a lot of them are doing either security, working for Amazon, or whatever type of job. But they all you drive past their house. Now there's like 6 cars lined out there. Cars equals you can get to your job. They are busy. When I call them for these little side gigs that they used to do, they're busy because they have a full-time gig, benefits and all that. They've started, and then now they're saving to move into their own apartment. And then after that, they get married, move away, then life starts. I love seeing that, especially when folks hit me up and say, hey, Ken, I need furniture because I just moved out of the church. I'm going into my apartment building in Aurora or in Northgate or in Auburn or in Tacoma or in Kent or in Renton. And I'm like, yes, you are, like, that's how we started, man. Started in a small apartment in Beacon Hill, you know, with my mom. Fortunately, that was short-lived. It was a few months for us. My mom continued staying there, but then I got the scholarship that I told you in college for like 4-year housing scholarship. I didn't pay a penny for the housing that I stayed at on campus, you know? And that,
what college did you go to?
I went to University of Phoenix, but
Okay.
the scholarship was through Seattle Pacific University, the housing scholarship, and that helped me out a lot. Because originally I was supposed to actually start there, but then they let me keep the housing scholarship as I finished at Seattle Central. And then from Seattle Central, when I finished my fine arts degree, I went on further to University of Phoenix, and that's where I graduated with my Bachelor of Science Human Service degree with a specification in special populations. That was my minor. So yeah, that's what I see like success. I see success among our folks 5 years from now, them coming back and settling other folks who are coming to this country. Because immigration is not going to stop. Don't let this stuff that's going on right now scare you, man. Administrations will come and go. Immigration is never going to stop in the U.S. Never. Mark my words, brother, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Never
It's
gonna
always been a hot button topic, but right now even more so. So
Yes, sir.
yeah. What advice do you give to young leaders who want to make a difference but feel overwhelmed?
Keep grinding, man. Do not give up. There's times when you get exhausted, you get burnt out, and you're like, yeah, or the things around you might look like it's just dire. But picking yourself up through whatever hardships, number one, I'd advise having like a unit, whether it's a mentor or a group of individuals that you can go and bounce off ideas, brainstorm, pray, whatever your affiliation might be, that you're able to network with. Have that. Have a safe group, safe person that you're able to go to bounce off ideas. Have some sort of village. And then please continue to push with, do not feel like your goals are too small. There's things I never ever thought I would get into, from it, the jobs, but the Lord has opened up so many ways, you know. And like so many times now, if there's something that I really want, I claim it. I look at myself in the mirror, I say I'm going to get it, and I go for it. And I've failed. This is something I will want to tell them. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to hear a lot of no's. Don't let that stop you, because sometimes folks just see the end product of people, of Ken in this position, of Giovanni with the show. That you see the end product on TV or in all these shows or all this news. You're seeing people.
True.
If you're going to someone's show, you're just seeing them at the top. You do not see what's behind the curtains. You do not see Jordan when he was benched at North Carolina. You do not see how many shots that Curry missed to be one of the greatest shooters. You do not see all the no's that all these big actors, all these models got contract. What you don't, that's not the stuff you see on IG or TikTok. You see the successes. You see the gleam. I mean the glitter, the light, the all that's gold. You don't see the failures. Failures will happen. They've happened for me a lot. I've gotten a lot of no's. I've been turned down for jobs. There's things I want to achieve that I'm not.
It happens.
But stand up, keep grinding, and keep pushing. Like, have your corner, have your people, stand up and do what you need to do to get to where you have to go. Have the set goals, have your benchmark of what you want to get to. When you get to it, keep going further.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the motto that I live by too.
Yes,
I
sir.
have to keep going. I have to keep hustling. Some people say I'm crazy, but because they're like, how you doing all of this and all of that and this and 10 million things? Because we only got one chance on this earth.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure that I live into the fullest. I'm not perfect. I don't get it all done. That means that a lot of failures, but that's just the name of the game. If you want to, at least attempt to be successful in this environment, right? In America and really even the world. If you had one message for America right now, in the middle of the protests and elections and uncertainty, what would that be?
Love your neighbor as yourself, and please use that to the truest sense of the meaning. Folks love themselves. We know that clearly. If you're to love your neighbor, love the immigrant, love your wife, I should love my wife like myself, then this country will move differently. If you love individuals as yourself, you will move differently.
I think that's right on point. That's exactly how we should be. It doesn't mean that it's going to solve everything. Some people might say, oh, that sounds like kumbaya and kumbaya. No, we're not saying it's going to just be sweet.
No.
It can just be sweet.
Difficult.
It's going to be difficult, but it's a start. It's a start. If you see somebody that looks different than you and you're starting a conversation with them and you're getting to know them and they're getting to know you, that's bridging cultures together, that's bridging people together, that's making really the core part of it humanistic. And that's really what I think moves the needle. Yeah. All right, so it's time for a quick rapid fire round. So I want the first thing that comes to mind at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we ready?
Ready.
Yeah, okay. Book that influenced you the most.
Book that influenced me the most. I'll say the Bible. That's the one consistent book because I take little snippets here and there from the Bible.
Quote you live by.
Ubuntu. I am because we are.
A song that represents your journey.
We Are the World. Michael Jackson.
Amen. If you weren't in community leadership, what would you be doing?
Restoring cars. That's what I'd be doing.
Is that right? Is that right?
I have two old school cars. I have a Chevy C10, and then I'm holding on to a friend's VW 1963-61 VW bus. So I have those two.
Wow.
Chevy C10.
We're learning everything about you today, and we really do appreciate the Giovanne Show, and the viewers appreciate having you and having all of the information that you shared with us. It was an amazing experience from Nairobi to the United States. That's what we just did on this show. Your story and your leadership and your resilience reflect exactly what the Giovanne Show is all about.
Amen.
And it's really shown us that leadership is born from lived experience. And it's about, resilience is not about, never facing any struggle. Struggle is going to come up regularly. It's about turning struggle into strength and strength into service. Now, this has been the Giovanne Show. I'm Giovanne Sachere, and until next time, stay bold and stay tuned.